Welcome back to Take My Hand. We're not episode 5, and I'm back with my dear Luba. How are you doing, Luba?
Great. Thank you, Patrick. It's so good to be back.
What tea are you drinking today?
Well, I'm still drinking this red clover tea. I guess I'm getting into it.
Just my
Mhm.
usual regular jasmine green, as always.
Oh my God. I promise next time it's going to be something different.
I don't. I'm not that adventurous with my teas, and this has very low caffeine, so I can meditate nice and peacefully and
Yeah.
stay relaxed. We have a very, very special episode actually today based on popular demand. We're going to cover from the masculine standpoint and from the feminine standpoint how to attract your ideal mate. And so we're going to go in depth with lovely Luba, of course, on what you might even be doing to repel your mate that you weren't even aware you were doing. Luba, would you like to get started? Give us some basic tips. As a woman, if a highly feminine person came to you, we'll get to the masculine afterwards, but highly feminine person comes to you and says, Luba, I've been alone and I'm beautiful and I have a career and there's everything going for me. What gives? What's going on? What would you say?
Oh, so many things could be going on, really. It's like somebody comes to you and says, this program is not working. Yeah, you know how many things can go wrong. Usually, the most important thing when you're trying to attract your ideal mate is really, we don't really know who our ideal mate usually is. We think that we have something or somebody in mind. You have no idea how many different ideal mates I have personally attracted in my life. And they were all very ideal in the beginning, then they turn out not so ideal pretty fast. So to attract an ideal mate, first of all, you need to know who you are and where you're moving with your life for real. And
Yeah,
you must have real space for that mate in your life. And that space has to be in your bed. And that's why there is a recommendation to have a queen size bed or king size bed when you are trying to attract any mate. And also you have to have space um, in your thinking, space in your thinking about the purpose of your life. So the woman you were just describing, very successful, this and that, very complete, it almost feels like there is no space. And for a man, it is very important to apply his yang energy, to apply his action into a space. And if he doesn't feel that space, if he doesn't feel that opening, he is not going to be attracted to that very fulfilled, very complete, very successful, probably, and smart and beautiful woman. So creating space, I would say, is one of the very, very important things. Another very, very important thing is actually to look at things from the point of abundance rather than from the point of lack. Uh, a lot of women get bitter and critical and kind of disappointed in the masculine in general or in relationships, and not just a lot of women, of course, women and men. And this attitude is not helpful. The attitude itself becomes a self-perpetuating prophecy. And so no matter what, again, just like in the previous show, we were discussing uh, taking things as lessons and being grateful for them and coming in gratefulness is definitely something that will help to attract the ideal mate. And the third thing, which is a broad topic, but for a woman, being magnetic is definitely a very, very, very helpful thing to attract ideal mate or ideal job or ideal business, any kind of ideal relationships. And being magnetic is a whole big topic. I have a course on that, and this is something we can talk about during the show a little bit. But those three are the cornerstones. And again, I'm going to repeat. First, the cornerstone is knowing who you are yourself. second, and having space in your life for another energy, another person. Second is coming in from the point of abundance with the attitude of gratitude, and as opposed to seeing what's wrong with the world or with the man or with the picture. And third is becoming magnetic. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what would you say about how would the man go about it?
I wouldn't necessarily use the term man. I would find, just to me, it would be look more like where you are on the spectrum, if you're more in your masculine or more in your feminine. But I do deal mostly with the masculine, and I deal mostly with men. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would go about, first of all, I think that there's an absolute um, necessity to take action. Action is a very, very big part of it. You can't sit at home and wish your partner into your bed. It's just like she's gonna manifest, in the bed there waiting for you. There's got to be an element of going out there. But I find that there's several. I want to relate a story first of all. Actually, I have
Mm-hmm.
this friend of mine, and he's such a beautiful person. He's one of those people that you meet. He's not traditionally a handsome guy. He's really not. He's short. He's very average, but he is surrounded with incredible, just beautiful, kind, feminine women all around him all the time, and it's such an amazing thing to see. He's such a sincere, such a good person. And so we were sitting and having lunch, and I asked him about this, like, what was the shift? What happened? And he says, I sat down one day and I realized I wanted to change. And so I looked at it and I said, okay, I live in a city with 3 million people. And then he says, I'll remove 1 million, 1.5 million that are men, and then I'll remove 500,000 that are, either too old or too young, so that what you've got left is 1 million women. And he says, I consider myself to be 1% attractive. That means there's 10,000 women right now in this city that would love to get to know me and to spend time with me and to open up to me and fall in love with me. He says, if I'm alone tonight, if I'm at home and I'm lonely and I'm unhappy, then there's only me to blame. And I love that mindset, because that opened up this just this abundance for him, this beauty. He connects with an incredible, I think he's getting married soon actually. And
Nice.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, he had, I think he had women propose to him. He's just such a kind, such a sincere individual. And so I think that the absolute necessity at the beginning is, yes, you need to take action. You need to go out there. And I think that depending on where you are on the spectrum, right? To me, it's a simple question. It's, would you rather be opened and coaxed into surrendering, into release, or would you rather that your strength and presence and purpose of direction opens your partner in front of you? And depending on how you answer that question, it's where you place yourself on the spectrum. And so if you are in your masculine, you want your strength of direction and presence to open your partner into surrender and love and radiance, ultimately, in light. And so that requires, by definition, it requires action. You need to get out there. You need to show up. And again, it's like we talked about in last week's episode. It's the degree to which you're hiding behind an emotional wall. The more present you are, the more firm you are in your direction, then the less you are hiding behind an emotional wall. And your real self, your magnificent self, is fully there for your partner and for the woman in front of you. And that's a beautiful thing, because you connect. It does immediate connection right away, because there's no barriers. You coax your partner into surrendering and into opening. So I think that's a very, very crucial. It's a very, very important thing. It's to know who you are and what your direction is. I think you cannot be present with your woman if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know your direction. It's absolutely, it's impossible. You can't. If not, you're showing up with a glass half full. You're going, I don't know who I am, tell me. But the more masculine you are, you'll attract a partner who's more feminine on the scale. What she wants to feel. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Luba, as a very feminine woman yourself. What the feminine wants to feel is, I know who I am and where I'm going. Come with me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's the invitation that happens. It's the magic of invitation, and this invitation doesn't necessarily have to even happen in words, right? It can just happen through eyes or through body language or through presence. And that is when the soulmates meet each other, the ideal mates in the moment. Maybe somebody who's ideal in one moment is not so ideal in another moment. And I actually fully believe that we are attracted to people who manifest the energies that we need to see in ourselves, that we need to really, really look into very deeply, because there is something in us, the wisdom of creation, divine is choosing for us to be attracted to that specific energy for a reason. And that reason usually is, this is something that we are not owning in ourselves. And this is the part of us, the part of our oneness that is easier to see on the face of the other, but it is inside of us. So if we are attracted to somebody who is destructive, or somebody who doesn't really love us, who's emotionally unavailable for us, we need to see, and especially if we have a habitual pattern of being attracted to people like that, we absolutely need to see what is it in that person that we need to, what does this person symbolize, and what does it mean for us. So for example, if that person symbolizes uh, wildness, it might mean that we need to see our own wildness. We need to own our own wildness. If that person symbolizes misery, well, most likely we need to see and look deeply into our own misery. If that person symbolizes suffering, that means that we are in denial about our own suffering. And just like we were discussing in the previous session, in the previous show, and that we really need to allow ourselves and dare to feel what is really going on with us. So we learn through relationships, and attracting an ideal mate who will actually be a wonderful, caring, giving, emotionally available person requires us to do a lot of work on ourselves, because it's our qualities that will be reflected in that ideal mate. Otherwise, we just won't be attracted to them.
You hit the nail on the head, Luba, in two different ways. I absolutely and firmly believe that we tend to attract our polar opposite, but I don't mean an opposite in the sense that we're opponents. I mean that we complete each other, right? It's the yin and the yang, the Jesus and Mary, the Shiva and Shakti. We absolutely attract our reciprocal, someone who completes us. And so the dark side of this is that if we are damaged and broken, we will be attracting someone who's just as damaged and as broken as we are, maybe in different ways. But as you said, if we consistently are attracted to someone who doesn't love us, who doesn't treat us with love and respect, it's because deep down inside, it's ourselves who don't recognize our own value, and our own intrinsic self-love isn't there. It's not present. And so the question is, if in the relationship between you and yourself, love isn't there, who's going to provide it for you, right? So that's the first bit of it. And then the second half is, like you said, we attract someone who who completes us in a way. And there's a beauty to that, because the key is balance. And as you said, you won't be attracted to someone who doesn't have that completing energy, that completing feel to them. And so to me, what it looks like is the scale. It's, if you are in your masculine, you will tend to be very highly attracted to someone who's very feminine. The further you are on the scale, then the more you'll be attracted to someone. In other words, the more masculine you are, the more feminine energy will just enliven you and turn you on, and it'll feel rejuvenating and refreshing. And the same
Yeah.
will be true.
And that is just one of the polarities, right, Patrick? There are so many others. The more constricted you are, the more you'll be fascinated with somebody wild.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
right? And sometimes it might take like a very ugly form, in terms of, for example, some businessman who's been constricting himself in business suits and and logic and being within very rigid patterns and way of thinking can be only, let's say, attracted to wild prostitutes, you
Yeah,
know, and this is
there's a
just what
dark
it
side.
is.
There's a
Yes,
very you know, you'll have women who or not just women, you'll have men as well. You'll have someone who will be, you know, abused to the point where they'll be sent to the hospital, and they will go to court to defend this partner of theirs who sent them to the hospital. Well, why is that? It's because feeling something is better than feeling nothing, right? There's this innate desire
yes,
to feel love. And that's the
yes,
dark side of the scale, is that if you don't recognize, right, if you don't transmute your own darkness into the light, and that'll be, we're going to touch upon this topic in next episode, by the way, so be sure to stay tuned. We're going to talk about an edge and honoring your darkness, ultimately bringing that into light. But if we don't do that, then we will consistently attract. I mean, if you find yourself in a loop, right, of partners that are not quality partners, then there's something inside yourself that you've been negating, that you haven't been dealing with. What do you think, Luba?
yeah, I think it's a great sign that it's time for you to go and do some transformational workshops. And that's what usually happens. You know, people don't do transformational workshops or spiritual growth because they're happy. That really doesn't usually happen, especially in the beginning. People are moved to do this work because they go through suffering, and a lot of the suffering is heartbreak. And there is one more topic that I want to touch upon, which we can also expand in the future shows, which is the triangle of a victim, rescuer, and perpetrator. And what we found out in our work with tons of people is that that triangle has to be transcended in order for a person to come into fully empowered, healthy relationships. And it's a big topic, and I think it probably piques everyone's interest. What does it mean? What does it mean? Is everyone a victim at some point? Is everyone a rescuer? Oh my God, I'm a rescuer. Why am I always attracted to these miserable people, right? Why are those people attracted to me? So there are a lot of answers to that, and this is something that needs to be addressed and worked with. So this is I think very important to
Okay, you're
move
teasing
on.
viewers for the next episode. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I am. I absolutely am.
Well, just in time too, because we're about running out of time. So, Luba, do you have a specific practice that you'd like to impart with people to help them maybe pinpoint what it is they're doing that could be driving away the partner that they're looking for, or what would you recommend?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, People tend to have those laundry lists of qualities that they are looking for in a partner. And meanwhile, the ideal mate actually shows up in a very unexpected way, in a very unexpected environment. And it's not about the list of qualities, it's not about exactly the space where you're going to meet them, but it's about the magic that happens when you reside in the heart space, in the heart vibration. And then the universe co-conspires, and as much as you want that mate to come into your life, that mate also wants to come into your life. And when you are in that heart vibration, in your unique heart vibration, there is something that is going to call that partner into your life. Just call him in. And to do that, you have to come into calmness, into the space of spaciousness, stillness, zero kind of space, zero ground kind of space. And it will come. That is my advice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What's
So,
yours?
from my end, I would say that if you are very, very good practice, if you are in your feminine and you're looking to attract a partner who's in his masculine, I deal with extremes maybe because I'm just young and crazy, but if you are in your feminine and you're looking to attract in your masculine, I would say expand your radiance, put on a big smile, get lost in the enthusiasm, just open yourself, relax, and just be inviting, open, open, open. Let your eyes sparkle with excitement, smile, invite. And if you are in your masculine and you're looking to attract your feminine, intensify your presence, breathe, relax, be fully, fully here, and show up. What that means is not, pecking in and out and kind of, quirky little remarks. Show up, look her in the eyes. You can say whatever you want to say, but show up. Let her feel that she's wanted. Let her feel that she's needed almost. Come from that position of love and show up fully with no barrier. And, I'm here. Love me or hate me, see me again or spit on me. I'm here and I'm going to show up with love and presence. You do what you will with it. So that would be my advice.
Absolutely. And in terms of the field of radiance, again, the Magnetic Woman course is all about that, creating that magnetic field. And this course is coming up soon. It will be launched very soon, and it's a very deep journey that will empower women to attract ideal soulmate or terrible soulmate, if that's what they want, or anything that their heart truly desires.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
As long as we're at it, we'll put a link in the description. And as long as we're at it, if you are interested, the Centered Man Project, what I do is one-on-one coaching. And it's profound self-transformation. It's bringing you closer to who you actually are. And so you unleash just this amazing, amazing sense of peace and confidence and inner strength. And you rely on who you actually are. And you move through these barriers and through the bullshit, let's call it like it is. So please tune in with us next week. We're going to talk about a whole range of topics. We're going to talk about honoring your depth, and you're going to talk about your edge and your darkness and Luba's triangle of, was it the victim, the rescuer?
Victim, perpetrator, and the rescuer.
Rescuer, yeah. We're going to cover that. I'm just as curious as you guys probably are. So tune in with us next week. Thank you very much. Bye, Luba.